JournalTV is joined today by Mary Jane Mutispaugh, Director of Instruction for the Alleghany County School Division. Mrs. Mutispaugh is here to tell us about the new tech program that the school system will be implementing soon. Welcome, lady.
Thank you.
And so what's going on? Give us an overview of what this new tech system is.
Well, first of all, Jerry, New Tech Network is a collaboration of schools in 29 states. There are over 200 schools that are part of this network. It's been around for a while, although it started on the West Coast and it sort of moved to the East Coast. And the basic premise is that you are preparing all students for college and career readiness. We became interested in new tech, as you know, probably 2 years ago. Our teachers looked at some various models that were available for to move us from good to great. And
I like that line.
And new tech was a model that came about from our secondary group of teachers that were working together. And we began to do tours of schools that had New Tech Network implemented in their divisions.
You've even gone to Indiana, haven't you? And a couple
The initial
Virginia?
tour was to Indiana, and it involved some school board members, some administrators from both Alleghany and Covington School Divisions, as well as the Alleghany Foundation. And the Alleghany Foundation has been very supportive in our treks to find out more about New Tech Network. We have visited schools in Virginia. Magna Vista High School has Warrior Tech. Bassett High School also has Benkel Tech. There are other school divisions. Those are the closest to us. Franklin County has a middle school model.
And I think you have indicated that you've been pretty impressed with them.
We've been very impressed with what we've seen. And basically, the New Tech model is project-based or problem-based learning. Primarily project-based learning, but also problem-based learning.
Well, we all want to know, get a feel for what. Yes, what is that?
Project-based learning. There is a total model where students are given a problem, and oftentimes that problem is a community problem. And there is a model for how they work through this problem to come to a solution. And then presentations are made generally to, it could be a community agency, it could be peers, parents within the school, but oftentimes it's done within the community. For example, one of the problems that we saw at Magna Vista in Henry County was that the recycling center was trying to figure out how to improve participation in the recycling
practical things.
So, exactly, very practical things. So they gave it to the kids that were in the biology class, and it was a biology health class, and they looked at who was using the recycling center. There was a lot of research involved, what was being recycled, how it was being utilized, and they put together a public relations campaign to improve the use of the recycling center. So it strengthens ties within the community. It makes learning relevant for students. They're not learning how to diagram a sentence in isolation from what they're doing. All of this is meshed together. Communication becomes very important. I will give you an example. We just visited the New Tech Annual Conference in the planning track in St. Louis, Missouri, and the keynote session was opened by a student who just finished third grade and a student who just finished fourth grade. They were on stage in front of at least 2,000 people.
I've never heard of a third grade keynoter.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And they talked about a project that their school had been involved in for the past 2 years. It involved a color run, and they had to figure out who they were raising money, and they had to figure out who they were going to give the proceeds of their fundraising efforts to. And they put together all the stuff involved in the color run.
Wow,
pretty impressive.
Just first class presentation.
It was pretty impressive. They held their own. They certainly had that audience eating out of their hands.
If I'm a family with an 8th grader in the county school system now, What kind of preparation should we be doing in order to maximize the success in the new tech program for my kid?
We began with last year's 8th grade class, as a matter of fact, talking about the redesign of the American high school and what it is that kids want to see in their education. All of our 8th graders viewed the film Most Likely to Succeed. That was also featured for our the community summit that was held in November. So it was sort of a wider audience than just our students. All of our educators viewed that film in January. After our 8th graders viewed the film, they came back and were pretty inspired. So they developed some projects on what their idea of a high school redesign should
This is
look like.
exciting times for you, isn't it?
It is exciting.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. So we've already begun to prepare our students. We'll do some more preparation this year with this year's 8th grade group. Our goal is that we will implement in the fall of 2018 with both 9th and 10th grade students.
In August.
In August of 2018 with our 9th and 10th grade students.
So still, Virginia has this system of SOLs.
It does.
How will those be addressed with this new system?
Actually, SOLs are embedded in projects that are created. One of the reasons that we have decided to participate in the new tech network, although we can do project-based learning in isolation, I mean, that's certainly doable. It would certainly be more cumbersome for our teachers because they would be working on their own to develop all these projects. By participating in the new tech network, we have access to projects that have been developed all across the country, projects that are correlated to the SOLs, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We may tweak it to make it applicable to our community, but we have the basis and we don't have to start from scratch. We also have the professional learning network so that we have coaching available for our teachers. The idea is that we empower both our students and our teachers. And that learning becomes relevant, it becomes applicable to their community, and it encourages kids to come back to the community once they are career ready.
I think I just violated something with respect to educational reporting. I just had a discussion with Mary Jane not to use mnemonics too frequently. And by saying SOLs, we didn't define, I did it, sorry, readers, viewers. SOLs stand for Standard of Learning, and that's a not unique system in Virginia, but certainly parents are concerned that their students meet these requirements. And it's delightful to know how committed you are to both the project-based learning and to make sure that all of the standard basics are being handled.
New Tech Network is based on 4 pillars. And if you think of it as a table, and each leg is very important, because if one collapses, then you know what happens to the table. Culture that empowers both students and teachers to participate in learning and to explore. Teaching that engages. It's very important that problem-based learning or project-based learning, and you'll hear that referred to as PBL, but it's all sort of the same thing. And it just depends on what subject area is, whether or not it's a problem or a project. But engages students in their learning and gives them some self-direction. Technology that enables, it's very important. As you've seen, we're implementing our one-to-one initiative. That's all part of this. It's to have the technology so that they can begin to find answers to very complicated and difficult questions.
What a great idea that you've implemented there.
And then the 4th thing is outcomes that matter. And that is making sure that our students are ready for college, career, and civic life once they leave us.
Sounds like a complete system. Is there anything that students need to do to specifically prepare, though? I mean, we all should be reading books and doing all the things that up-and-coming high schoolers need to do, but is there anything specific that they could do?
There's really not, because we've already begun the preparation. You will hear the term agency a lot associated with project-based learning, particularly with New Tech Network. An agency refers to those soft skills that employers have told us that are very lacking in employees these days. the ability to communicate, the ability to collaborate, to get a job done. Nobody works in isolation anymore. They're very connected, whether that be virtually or in real time, and they have to collaborate to solve real-world problems. I've mentioned to you before that education now, if we're going to do justice to kids, has to do more than provide questions that are easily Google searchable. You don't want a child to be able to turn on a Chromebook or pull up their telephone and find the answers to their homework questions. It's all about critical thinking, and it's about application and making sure that our students are prepared to function in this kind of world. New tech refers to the 4 C's of creative thinking, critical thinking, collaboration, communication. And if you add one more thing to that, you have what the Virginia Board of Education is looking for in the profile of a Virginia graduate. And that 5th thing is citizenship. And that's just as important in my estimation as those others. But of course, I'm a former social studies teacher.
And a high-speed runner, a track and field star. We'll have to tell that story later. This is great. Thanks very much for joining us today. Maybe one final thing. If I'm a parent and I have a question about this, a general question, who do I contact? How do I go about getting an answer?
You're welcome to contact me. My email is freely available on our website. Phone numbers are there. You can talk to Mr. Ross at Alleghany High School. We have 5 teachers who have participated in the planning track this summer. And prior to this year, I participated in a planning track as well as Mr. Persinger. And so we're all pretty excited about this. We've done some site visits. We'll continue to do some more. And this next year will be full of planning. And so we will be reaching out to students in the community to get input on what they want us to look like.
This is really great.
We're excited.
I know you have a busy schedule. We're very thankful you joined us today. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for letting us have this opportunity.